In this video today, we're going to talk about dimensioning in Revit. So when you're dimensioning a construction plan, the only items you need to focus on are new elements. So if you are given a building that has exterior walls and doors and windows that are staying and you're not doing anything with it, you don't need to dimension those. The dimensions are telling the builder and the contractors where to put the new items. So they don't need to know where an existing window is located. They're not doing anything to it. But when you're adding any new walls you add, any new doors, any new windows you add, those need to be dimensioned so that the builder knows where to put them. Because remember, your builder is not getting your Revit file and opening it and measuring off of it. They are getting a printed file that has all the information on it to read. So they need all that with it. So dimensioning in Revit, it actually works pretty simply. It works well. So we'll start with dimensioning walls. And the main tool that you want to use is the Align Dimension tool. There are other types of dimensions, linear, angular, etc. But the aligned is what you will use probably 90% of the time, and that's what we're going to focus on. So you can find it either on the annotate here, or it's in your quick access bar, which is where I typically go to use it. So when you first click on it, it's going to give you some options right here. And the first thing you'll want to do is decide where you want your dimensions to go. So do you want it on the wall center lines? So that's going to go from the center of the wall to the center of the wall. Do you want it on wall faces? We won't worry about the core. Typically, you're going to want wall faces for interior design because what we are concerned about is the open space on the interior of the rooms, the interior of the corridors, all of that. So you want to choose wall faces. So then as you move around, it's going to select the different faces. You'll see them turn blue. So if I want to dimension the width of this office right here, of office 2, I'm going to select the interior wall on the left side, go across, and I'm clicking when I'm selecting it. I'm going to click on the right side, and then I'm going to move my dimension to wherever I want it, and I'm going to click again. Okay, so it's 3 clicks, click to start, click to end, and then click to place the dimension for one dimension as you go through. So this is what it shows. You can, this little padlock right here, you can, what it means is if the dimension is locked or unlocked. So if I click it to lock it and come to modify, if I try to move this wall, it's going to move this one as well. So it's not going to let this dimension change. It's going to keep that set. So that is something that's good to use when you get things set so that you don't accidentally move something that's a critical dimension as you go through. So those are for your walls. Now, if you are doing a string of walls, you may, there's a couple of things. You can change it. So I could be doing, I could go from the face, so let me show you something. So if I'm doing, let's say I want these 2 offices to be the same size. So I'm going to click on the starting wall face. I'm going to come up here to wall faces and change now to wall center lines. Go to the middle of this. I'm going to come and change back again to wall faces. Click that. Come up here. And now you can see there's a little EQ with a line through it. So that means it's not equal. It means it's whatever the dimensions are here. And if I zoom in, you can see they're pretty close. If I want them to be the exact same, I will click on the EQ, and then it will shift the wall in the center here and make it so that it's equal on both sides. And again, with this, I can lock it so that it stays as we go through. Okay, so the equals is great, especially if you're trying to center something. So if you want to center a door, if you want to center a window, or if you have maybe you have 5 rooms in a row that you want them all to be the exact same, then using the dimension in that way works well for it. Okay, so then the other item that you'll see in the book is it talks about dimensioning doors. So there's a couple of different dimensions that doors need. One, they need the width of it. So for most of them, it's pretty simple. I'm going to make sure I'm on wall faces, and I'm going to go from the opening to the next opening and pull it down, and that shows what my door width is. Okay. If you have a double door like this, you're going to click on the inside, come to the center, and then to the inside again. And we'll pull it down this way. Okay, and so that's telling you what it is if you have a double door. The other dimension for doors is where are they located? So how far away from the wall are these doors set? So I'm going to click on the wall face here. I'm going to zoom in because this is pretty close. I'm going to click on the edge of the door here, and I'm going to pull it down right here. So this one it's at a random, it's almost 4 inches, but not quite. So we are going to come in here. Well, okay, there's 2 things. So one of them, it just moved on me. Okay. So you have witness lines, is what they call these. Your extension lines in Revit are called witness lines. And your button here will allow you to move the witness line. So like right now it's on the center. And you can see when I hover over it, if I click it again, it's going to move it to the inside. And then I'm going to check this one as well. So to make sure that, again, it's on the edge of it. So now I can click on this. We'll save my project. Well, it keeps changing on me. So let's go to a different one. Okay. Let's delete this. What we want to do, if I click on the door here, it's going to pull up a temporary dimension. Okay. And this is where we can change it easier. So again, I've got my witness line. I want to move it to the face of the wall. And then I want to move this one to the inside of the door. Now I can, if I can get it to quit moving my witness line, and this one's really small as part of it, but I want to click on the dimension. I'm going to put 4 inches and hit OK. So now it has moved it so that it's 4 inches. So now I'm going to come back and put my actual dimension in. I'm going to go from wall face to the edge of the door, pull it down, and it's here. Okay. And then I would probably lock it to make sure I don't accidentally move the doors. Now, when you are using a space, your doors are typically going to be the same distance from the corner every time. So like this one, generally, I'm not going to generally have like, here's 4 inches, and I want this one to be 5 inches, and I want this one to be 3 inches as it goes through. You're generally going to have the same one. So go to modify, click on your dimension, click on the written part, and it'll open up dimension text. Under or where it says suffix here, I can put TYP for typical and hit OK. So now it's letting you know that this dimension of 4 inches to the door is typical. So any time you see where the door is, it should be 4 inches from it. And that allows you to just put that dimension one time instead of at every door as you go through. Now, if I had a door, and I don't know if I have one here, but let's say for some reason this door, if I wanted it centered between it and I wanted it moved over, I could put a separate dimension just for that. And they're going to know that, okay, this one is not typical. It needs to go by the 8 inches or whatever it is that I've put here. Okay. Additionally, for that suffix, a lot of times where it's used is when you are dimensioning a corridor. So I'm going to place this. I've got 4 feet. And the most important part of this 4 feet is that it's clear, that they have clear space at that 4 feet. So I want to make sure like this is a minimum that they have. So I'm going to put CLR for clear and hit OK. And that'll let them know for my corridors, wherever I place that they've got to make sure that there's a minimum of 4 feet as they go through. And typically for corridors, especially in commercial spaces, this has to do with codes. So you're just re-emphasizing them that they've got to have this as a minimum as it goes through. Okay, so let's come down here. We're going to dimension this room real quick. And we're just going to place it and we'll come out here. Okay, so we've got that. So let's say you've done that and then you realize, oh, you know what? I forgot I need to add these in. Or maybe these weren't here and you added them in later. Instead of having to delete this and start over or putting separate ones in, you can click on your dimension. It's going to open up this modify box over here. I can click on edit witness lines. And then I can choose the face of each of the walls. I'm going to come up here. So I'm going to click each face and then I'm going to click where I want it placed. And it has now created a string of dimensions. I could make this equal at this time. I'm not going to because of what's going on here. But that's way that you can modify it and add on to it after you have that there. All right. So, and again, these witness lines, you can adjust those and that's going to change your dimension as it goes through. And your temporary dimensions, how to get those to show are you're going to click on the item that you're wanting to adjust. And let's actually do this one because this will be easier. So this brings up, it's called a temporary dimension. So if I click off of the wall, it disappears. But while I have it on it, I can, again, I'm going to check my, my witness lines, make sure they're where I want this. So let's say I want this to the inside so it's clear. I'm going to adjust this one so it's on the inside. And then I'm going to say, okay, this is a really random number I've got going on here. Part of it is because it's matched up to this wall. But if I needed something different, I could come in here and say, I just want this to be 16 feet even and hit OK. And it'll make that change as it goes through. Parts of dimensions to get started in Revit.